Gentlemen, we are back for another episode of the La Liga Lounge. Me and Houston coming at you live. For the first time this year, we got Houston back. Houston, we missed you last week, buddy. How are you doing, man?
Dude, I am doing great. I'm glad to be back. Cheers. Saw Roger Goodell on First Take today. He sounded like more of an entertaining commissioner than Kevin. So, just, you know. But, dude, I'm pumped to be back. Thanks for holding down the fort, Dan. Pumped to get into week one. It's done and over with. Let's start with that, right? Game of the week.
Game of the week. That's right, Hughes. All right, my game of the week is actually my game that I had with Jeff. I'm 99% sure this is the closest game we had last week. The probably worst loss I've ever taken in fantasy football, boys. This was fucking brutal. I was up on Jeff all throughout the Monday night game. He's got his kicker.
To be clear, your opponent had the Buffalo kicker,
yeah,
and you had the Buffalo tight end.
Yeah, dude, it comes down, Houston. I'm up 4.5 points going into the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. And I'm like, all right, I got this. As long as it's not a 50-yard field goal or longer, I'm going to be in the money here. It's going to be great. And then what fucking happens? Buffalo fucking drives and, the last minute of the game, gets down to like the 32-yard line or something like that. So whatever it is, it equals exactly 50-yard fucking field goal, dude. Fucking Tyler Bass, whatever his fucking name is, kicks the damn field goal, doinks it off the post, and puts it through the fucking post. It was a gut-wrenching loss.
Could have been 49 yards and made it, and you would have won.
Yeah.
And then your tight end in OT just needed one catch for 0 yards.
He couldn't even come up with that. It was just all Stefon Diggs. So
that's brutal.
Yeah, it was a rough one, man. It was a really rough one. I'm okay with it, I guess. I still put up 100 points. Jeff's team put up 100 points. So, it was two good teams. I mean, I would have probably beat 8 other teams in the league last week. So tough matchup going against Jeff, but a good game there that literally went down into the last fucking second of that Monday night game.
Yeah.
So
for my game of the week, that was still close. I got Kevin versus Anthony. Kevin won 104-100, but going into Sunday night, Anthony was done. He was flat at 100. All of his players were finished. I think I got that right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin was down 38 points. He's down 38 points. 2 guys to play. They got to cover 18 points, 19 points a person.
Yep.
He's got Pollard and Diggs, which they can get that. But Pollard gets him 21 points with 2 touchdowns. And then Diggs gets 100 yards and a touchdown. 21 points each to beat Anthony 104-100. And that's just got to be a kick in the balls because Anthony's like, I just need these guys to 80 yards and a touchdown each. And they both would have. Really great game. Anthony still wins. Looking at Kevin's score now. Those were his 2 best performers, and they were his last 2. So it's a tough break for Anthony. I like Anthony's squad. We'll talk more about players in a bit, but that was my game of the week.
That was a tough one for Anthony Houston. You're right about that, man. I mean, being up 40 points going into Sunday night, you got to feel good about it. I don't care which 2 players you have. You got to feel good about being up 40 points. And that last drive for Buffalo, dude, it was like, is Stefon Diggs going to get there or not? And it was really close. And then 3 passes in a row went to Diggs' way, and Kevin ended up making it through, which fuck Kevin, but whatever.
Fuck Kevin.
Anyway.
But week one, right? So the McAfee show does this overreaction Mondays. And also, I want to make a side note. You could roll the tapes. McAfee show, right? FanDuel, ESPN is kind of like a hot thing now, right? And he's all in his tank. Go back to what episode? What season are we on, Josh? 4.
Yep. Season 4.
I don't have one on the night, but I've been wearing tanks long before Pat McAfee ever did, and he's way more jacked than me, better hair. I get it. I started the podcast tank, so fuck off.
All right, let's get into it. Yeah,
Josh is gonna lay overreactions, week one overreactions that the McAfee show obviously also took from us. So Josh, take us through the overreactions. Dan and I will go through, say yay or nay, and we'll go through them.
Damn it, Kevin, you're such an idiot.
What? You got to consider a little bit of the history of the league, okay? Overreaction number 1, yay or nay. Timmy is going to miss the playoffs.
I don't think it's an overreaction. 51 points he put up. Burrow, dud. Timmy loves the quarterback, receiver, quarterback, running back combo. So he's Burrow and Chase, duds. I think Burrow has an off year. They always do after the big contract. DeAndre Swift, dud. Too many mouths to feed. They're running the ball. He's got players. Javonte Williams, there's a new rookie they got running back. I don't think Timmy's got depth. I think he's got a few boom weak guys here and there. Breece Hall, they got Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter there too. And now no Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Timmy's gonna do it. I think Timmy gets like 3 dubs this year. And I'm sorry, Timmy. You made me eat my words before, but no overreaction. Timmy misses the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with Houston. It's not an overreaction. I mean, just look at my preseason rankings. I had Timmy at, I think, number 9, and I feel pretty darn good about those rankings after week 1. I mean, only putting up 51 points is brutal. I don't expect Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase to fuck up as bad as they did last week every week by any means, but the rest of the team just isn't quite there as what we're used to seeing with Timbo. So, yeah, I don't think it's an overreaction.
Sorry, Tim.
Timbo feeds on doubt, so we'll see how what kind of
he
waiver.
Really fucking
he
does.
really does. He does that.
Every time we have then he'll go on a 3-game win streak.
Yeah.
We decide to talk bad about him again, and
we pretty much just locked him into the playoffs right there.
I think we address that separate issue.
All right, overreaction number 2. Got to go into the history books for this one. I don't think a lot of people know in recent years, but Ruben has won the championship before. Overreaction. Is Ruben back? Will he make it? This is what I wrote. Will he make it to the championship game?
Yeah, and I'll start this. To the championship, he changed it on us, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
So I think Ruben will make the playoffs. I don't think he makes the championship because I don't think he's got depth there, but I think he's got enough really good players to have really good weeks. And since this podcast has started, I think Ruben has always finished poorly. And I've always been on the podcast saying I've had a boner for Ruben's teams, right? Just loving them. He drafts Tom Brady a lot. That might have something to do with it. But I mean, this year, Trevor Lawrence with his running back, Justin Jefferson, Metcalf,
ETN.
Mike Evans, Ken Baker getting the ball. I mean, he was. So he's got some good players, a lot of receivers that can do some boom plays, but his second best running back's Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots. Not a lot else there. After that, it's Rashad Penny. He has 3 running backs.
Yeah.
And one's on his bench. So that's where I think he has enough receivers that are boom and bust that can get him to the playoffs, but no, he's not going to win the championship.
Houston, you hit on the point I was going to make too. So I do think that's an overreaction. I don't think, unfortunately, Ruben's going to make it to the playoff or to the championship game. I do think he makes playoffs, like Houston said, but it's the depth. It's the depth for me, Houston. I look at that bench, and I don't really see anyone that I would be even a little bit excited about putting on my starting roster, right? And
think about if Justin Jefferson gets hurt. What if Justin Jefferson gets hurt?
Or even if Travis Etienne or Ramondre Stevenson, if one of those two get hurt, he's got really nobody to plug and play for himself, right? Yeah. And I know Ruben. I lived with the man for many years. You don't hit the waiver wire like he should, like he's going to need to in order to get himself to the championship game. So call you out a little bit here, Ruben. Hit the waiver wire. Maybe you change my mind, but I do not think he's gonna have the activity, the activeness that he needs to have on his team to make it there this year.
So before we get to the third overreaction of the week, I've been hitting up Ruben for Justin Jefferson. And I've been offering him wide receiver 1 and a starting running back. Because as you know, I'm loaded on running backs. I got a DM from him today. You're not getting him. Better luck next week. You're going to need it.
Speaking of activity, third overreaction. I think we had a pretty big movement today. Eric Kanicki, preseason ranked number 12 in the league by Dan. This guy, kind of an interesting setup with his roster, has Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. To Dan Janord, who outside of Kevin, because he's the commissioner, nobody wants to win. Trades Mark Andrews for, as they call him, Puka Cooper Cup. Okay. And number
Nice.
2 wide receiver for Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, Mike Williams. Is Mark Andrews, basically tight end number 1, worth less? Like that Eric came out on top than those 2 receivers.
So I'll just go ahead and say, I mean, I don't know which side of the overreaction I'm supposed to be on right here, but
just react.
I think clearly I fucking won that trade. I really do think so. I do think it's kind of like a win-win, because I do think Puka Cooper Cup is more valuable to Eric since he has Cooper Cup than for anyone else in this league. So I do think that helps Eric more than it would have helped anybody else. But to get Mark Andrews, the tight end, pretty much the consensus tight end 2 after Travis Kelce, really beefs up my team, man. I'm pretty excited. I'm just waiting for the trade to process tonight at 11 o'clock so I can just jerk off to my team a little bit later with Mark Andrews edition. But yeah, I think it was a great trade. I think it was kind of a win on both sides. I was pretty surprised that Eric didn't. He did try to get more out of me, and I shut him down. But I'm surprised he didn't. He tried to get a lot more out of me. He should have tried to get a little bit more out of me. But yeah, he could have probably gotten a little bit more.
So I think Dan won the trade. There's a lot of things to go into this. You gave him what? Mike Williams and Puka Luka Duga for Mark Andrews. And we were talking this pre-show, and I thought
Mike Williams. I thought you said Mike. I thought it was Mike Evans. That's what I was talking about. Tampa Bay. My bad.
I think it would have been better. But and so just during this conversation, I went to Eric's roster, Dan. He doesn't just have Cooper Kupp. He has Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
So you're not going to play Van and Puka, so that's kind of, and one of them's going to get more receptions and touchdowns than the other on a given week. But then I was like, okay, I guess like if the Rams end up being really good, which they could, they're kind of on the, people don't think they're going to be good, but like Matthew Stafford's going to be on quarterbacks, plug. I also listen to Kelly Stafford's podcast with all the other housewives. But like, if the Rams are good, that could be good. You could put in the best receiver if Cooper Kupp's out for a bit. He also has Quentin Johnston for the Chargers. So he's got 2 Chargers receivers, which are number 2 and 3 next to Keenan Allen. So I'm pretty confused by what Eric was doing. He's stocking receivers. This isn't like starting running back and with backup running back insurance. So I don't get it. I think
that was a move to win the week, not have longevity in the season.
What that's 1 to 2 weeks short-term gain, and you just lost. The only thing working in Eric's favor, he has Travis Kelce too. So he got Kelce and Andrews. Good for him. That's good drafting from a tight end perspective. But like, I don't know. I think he's cuckolded himself with his receivers, and
yeah, I think really Eric fucked up when he took Mark Andrews. I get the idea of trying to get trade value out of Mark Andrews, but you're really never going to be able to get it. Like if you announce that you want to trade this guy, you're not going to get the best value out of him. And I think that rang true.
Did he do that?
True. Yeah, he did. He did that. Yeah, you weren't there, Hughes, but that's how it went down. Who is your lock of the week for week 2? Who do you think for sure is going to get that W?
My lock of the week is the person that I just beat, Fartsel, Max. He's got Barkley against Arizona. I think Barkley's going to be able to get up some good points. Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker. Detroit's defense isn't that good. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Deebo Samuel against the Rams defense, not too good. Pittman's only receiver against the Texans. I think matchups for Max guys are awesome. Like we talked about Timmy. I think Timmy's on the – so my lock of the week is Max. And game of the week, too. I think it's going to be a good game. They're also, fun fact, the only 2 0-1 teams playing each other. Every other game is 1-0 versus 0-1.
Nice. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a good pick. For me, you're not going to like this, Hughes. I'm going to go with Ruben as my lock of the week over you on this one.
Or they're 1-0 versus 1-0.
Yeah, I think early season is when you don't want to play Ruben, and you got him. So I'm going to lock Ruben in there. Give him my lock of the week. All right, gentlemen.
Dan, I think I forget this, but like, I'll see you next week. But FTC.
Oh yeah, FTC. That's right. We have this is why we need you, man. Because we did not get any FTC in last week, and
Kevin
he was here. He was on
that?
the show, and we didn't FTC his ass. So poor form on my part there. We'll talk to you next week.
See y'all.